Alright. This is one of the games from the Steam's event going on. This is the last day for the event, of course, because I always make it to the last day of an event. The Ghost Festival? Haunting Ghost Festival? Something like that. This game is called The Butterfly Dreams. I don't know anything about this game. There's only one game that I bought from the festival that I played the demo of. So, figured we'd start off with a visual novel. Because you know my love of visual novels. The Butterfly Dreams. Let's go ahead and start. An Avenue Q production. Original story by Raka P. As the lights dimmed, the enormous plasma screen in the middle of the room buzzed alive. It was filled by the jovial face of an old man with a white beard so lush that the upper half of his face looked more like an afterthought to the mesmerizing bush. Welcome, welcome, please, keep enjoying the feast. His voice boomed through the room, halting me from putting down my plate of creamy seafood pasta. Yet I spied from the corner of my eye that others stopped eating regardless. Well, the founder and CEO of the world's greatest and virtually only video game company, Ryan Singh, just commanded a primal sense of respect and awe. CEO of the world's greatest video game company and virtually only? Wow, how far back is this? What world is this? It is my deepest honor to have you all, esteemed professionals from all walks of life, the best in the world, here in my humble abode. I hope the accommodation and service have been to your liking. Humble here meant a sprawling 120 ha complex on an island with its own farm, renewable power plant, and runway. We were flown into the mansion, a huge yet classy building complete with the most luxurious fittings money could afford, and disco balls. Like, come on. From the window you could see the vast expanse of the ocean. Even the closet here was bigger and fancier than where I lived. Well, yeah, it's a mansion. First, please let me remind you that it's a synthesis pleasure to work with every one of you in our new, ambitious initiative that will surely revolutionize the world itself as we know it. He paused, grinning gleefully, savoring the tension in the room like a finely aged wine. I gulped, waiting for him to finally explain what the very secret, very exclusive invitation was about. What we're currently working on here is something that was previously thought to be merely an imagination, or at least in our lifetime. But through the exhaustless research by our immensely talented and dedicated team, I can proudly say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future. The floor of the podium in front of the screen slid open, and 3 platforms emerged, resembling white dentist chairs. Don't like that! On each chair they laid a set of cables that started from the underside and ended on the headrest. Is this VR? Is this just video game VR? I gasped. I'd seen similar design concepts a couple times on the internet and at technology exhibitions, but they were just that, fanciful concepts. I can hear the other guests muttering their disbelief and somebody dropping their glass with a soft clink. They're really that amazing? I don't think people were that amazed when actual VR did come out. Singh gave a hearty laugh, enjoying our expression. The rotund man clapped merrily for what felt like a minute before he regained control and continued on. I see that most of you already know what I'm talking about, and you are right. We have achieved total immersion. Wait, does this mean like sight, sound, smell, touch, like everything? Total immersion? Because if so, okay, color me impressed. Brian Singh's face was demoted to an inlet on the bottom right corner as the display changed to show 3D diagrams of the machine that spun around on the screen. Locomotion, ambisonics, field of view. Several different parts were highlighted as jargons and buzzwords flashed by that nobody could read because they were just too fast. Introducing the Asynthesis Fantasia. Well, it's the working name anyway. The marketing team is still discussing it day and night as we speak. A state-of-the-art gaming platform that doesn't just bring you to the game, but into the game. Gone are the days of playing pretend with VR's name. Okay, alright. The start of the game was really weird because it sounded like he was the one that created video games. Bound by the previously impregnable barrier of goggles and controllers. Feel the reality. It's one of my favorite potential taglines. I don't think that I would particularly enjoy playing a game that involves all your senses. Cause some things just ain't gonna feel right. Some things just aren't gonna smell good. Other things you wish you'd never tasted in your life. Yeah. I'm good with what we have now. Feel the reality, it's one of my favorite potential taglines. Do you want us to try it? A female voice somewhere behind me asked. Ah, very eager, I see, Miss Helena. I am humbled. Yes and no. All 7 of you are here for the next 180 days, and what I ask of you is this. Let your imagination roam free. There are 3 chairs. There are 7 of us. Summon up those childhood dreams. Bring back the ideas you previously deemed impossible. There's quite literally no limit for what the Fantasian can achieve. You just need to come up with ideas, which I am sure would be an easy task for the brilliant minds gathered here. As simple or as deep as you'd like, and our team of developers will turn it into reality. Oh, so we have to tell them what we want. So it's not like already made games. That's indeed why you're here. Each one of you have proven your capability to change the world. Through the arts and science, through words and action, not only by your hard work, but also by peerless creativity. Now you can not only change the world, you can create one. Or why stop there? Create as many as you want. With the development framework we have, it'll only take a couple days to turn your dreams into reality. Though it doesn't have to be a game, per se. It can be any experience or story that you yourself want to see, hear, feel, and live in. I do not want to see, hear, feel, or live in any of the stories that are occupying my mind because... well... But to get back to the question, yes, we'd like you to try it for yourself as well. Your feedback, your insights would be most valuable for our team. Finally, I understand that the time commitment or other details might not be suitable for some of you. If you want to rescind, you'll have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Well, another one. And pay the cancellation fee. Just contact any of the staff before midnight. Now, I blubbered long enough. It would not do well to let the food go cold. I'll keep in touch regularly, but do pardon me if I can't show up in person more often. We're still perfecting Fantasian behind the scenes. He's not even in person right now. Further information will be available from any of our Ascent representatives, and just ask them if you need anything else at all. Please enjoy the rest of the evening, and finally, I'm looking forward to experience your world. The light turned back on. I blinked, and not just to recuperate from the sudden dizzying brightness. I felt like I just woke up from a particularly ridiculous dream. The part below is an optional detour meant to give you a deeper look at the 6 people currently trapped in the utopic facility with me, through the conversations held in the following hours. Reading them might give you some insight to their motivations for the events that will unfold in the next part of the story. Metamorphosics. Which record would you like to see? Oh, I get to choose. You know what? Let's go with Sean Fornicue, the professional gamer. Oh, Jesus Christ. I take it you're excited about this. The young man in the black hoodie and baseball cap was casually pacing near the doors leading to the main recreation room. Sean Fornicue never takes his eyes off a screen for one moment. He had an antique-looking video game handheld console in his hands. I didn't follow esports much, but I recalled seeing his name in the news a couple times. Yeah, far out, dude. I already hate him. No gamer talks like that. Surfers, yes. Gamers, no. I don't follow video games myself, but do you think their claim is for real? I can only hope so. That'd be pretty chillax. You don't sound too excited. Yeah, man, but you know how it is with these video game companies. They promise you one thing, and the next thing you know, they're pre-alpha builds and you have to wait for patches that will never come. That's why I don't really like playing early access games, 'cause it's like... sometimes they just don't update like they should. Or worse, you had to buy the season pass or whatever and dang, I lost! He grumbled a bit and put the handheld inside his hoodie's front pocket, then pulled out another one that looked slightly more modern. Dunno though, as a gamer I always keep my expectations in check. It's best that way. How many games do you have? That's my curious question. But if it's true, well man, I get a lot of radical ideas that just need to like happen. It's got Monopoly. Is that Japanese on that one screen? It looks like... well, I can't read it. If it isn't Japanese. Hot spot, win big money. Like, brain cancel games would be sick. I can't believe we never got Ultimate Unreality 16-3. They had a demo out and everything. I had to think of that. Or can bring back an older patch of a live game. Skeleton Boys really fell off after last March's patch. Their balancing is totally whack nowadays. Of course, making new games is always the dream, yeah? He looked at me with a naughty twinkle in his eyes. A naughty twinkle? Impressively, his fingers were still steadily tapping the handheld console's buttons with blinding speed. He's in a Pokemon battle, probably. Heaven knows we've got enough sequels and reboots out there. We need something new to shake things up. It's sort of embarrassing, but I've got a lot of ideas for games, yeah? You play a shit ton of games, of course you would have ideas for more. Now it's just a matter of choosing which ones I'd like to make first using Fantasia. You know, there's this one where, darn, I lost again. Maybe you're not that great at gaming. Well, you know, on second thought, it might be better if you go in blind, dude. Always more exciting that way, yeah? I suppose. Just wait for it. It'll be totally gnarly. Or stuff. Which record would you like to see? Juan Salcedo, the doctor. More like mad scientist. Dios mío, so they're really doing A? They're thinking they're so smart. The olive-skinned man with a lab coat over his evening suit looked disgruntled. He was absent-mindedly playing with his wavy black hair, making an even more amorphous mess. Juan Salcedo, one of the most prominent neuroscientists in the world as well as the richest neurosurgeon, thousands wait in line to have their appointment with him. According to the myth, he was even capable of restoring a dementia patient's brain back to a near-perfect state. You don't look so happy. Compadre, of course I'm not happy. Just imagine what this means to us good doctors of the world, yes? Mapping the human nervous system like that? I guess I should pack my bags and go find a nice storefront to freeze to death. Do you think they can really do it? He gave this query a minute, walking back and forth. Why are we looking up at the ceiling and the lights? Do we not want to see the mad scientist's room? And all his vials? Sadly, yes, compadre. I know some colleagues went to a secret project since a couple of years ago. Those nasty burros, selling their soul to this madness that will end the world of neuroscience in a second. I highly doubt that. But there's still hope, yes. I know for myself that our brain is so complex and so are nerves. Anything could go wrong just by one wrong signal. He started mumbling some complex chemical formulas I could only assume had something to do with the neurosensory system. Anyway, what do you think about the creating a world thing? At first I want to know part of it, but perhaps it would be better if I gave you this new toy of them a stress test. One walked back and forth, mumbling something I couldn't quite catch. Yes, that's for the best. After all, there's no way they'll release this Fantasia toy to the public. There's a major exploit in the system. So he's trying to be its downfall? It's just a responsible thing to do. He's already trying to break the games. Helena Wu, the chef. Again, we just like tilt our head up to the sky. Don't look at me. I'm making food. So what do you think? It's good. But they should have braised the salmon 15 seconds longer. The petite lady with her black hair and a tie bun was holding about a dozen plates in one hand. Wish I could see it! A feat indicative of her well-tuned fine motor control and determination. Each of the plate was filled with only one serving of menu item from the embarrassing, lavish buffet. Helena Wu. Her reputation came from her otherworldly culinary creations. She's gonna be making cooking games, probably. It was said that eating one of her meals is akin to seeing the face of God. Cause, you know, we all wish to see that. One of the few people have been driven mad after finishing their plate, desperate to go back to the moment they savored the food. Meanwhile, I'm just happy with my McDonald's. No, I meant about the Fantasia. She actually stopped chewing and downed the rest of the food with a glass of water she pulled out of nowhere. Oh, the machine? Wasn't really paying attention. Where'd they get these people? They don't really even seem like they care. They're just really rich and really good at a job they do. The vindaloo had too much cardamom, and really, the cuts they used were obviously thrown in without any consideration for the right. She's not even talking about the Fantasia thing, she's talking about the food they served. Isn't she? Much too tender, I'd like to have a word or two with the chef. So I take it you're not interested? No. Wait, I mean yes. I mean, no meaning yes. I'm interested. Perhaps we can taste how certain combinations of ingredients and spices would be like before cooking them for real. That would be interesting. It should save me a lot of headache and stomach ache. Or can it emulate the taste of long-gone ingredients? Or critically endangered sources of food? I've always wondered what silphium would taste like. Oh, and I'm definitely interested in if they can emulate the rich and juicy crunchiness of a well-cooked rocks. Hey, maybe I can even use it to make people think that they've eaten when it's actually just simulation. Will they still be hungry though? Dude, imagine if they think that they've eaten and then they just starve to death because they haven't eaten. I suppose so. After all, the machine can't actually modify our physiology, just the mind. At least that's my understanding of it. But isn't it all in the mind? Even the same dish can taste different if you serve them slightly differently. Cooking is about 50% psychology. I'll agree with that. I'm looking forward to it, but for now I still haven't tasted the soup. Do you want to try it together? Thanks, but I think I'll pass. Well, suit yourself, but I can't think of it on an empty stomach. Didn't you just shovel food in her face? I held my tongue from saying anything as she left an empty stack of plates. How much does she eat in a day? How about the programmer? Lena Hendoyan Fadol. Well, at least she looks somewhat normal in a somewhat normal place. Just, you know, programming from her bed. I can work with that. Hey mister, what do you think? I had to look down to see her, a young girl with long wavy hair framing her tanned face. The most prominent feature of hers were two sharp olive eyes peering from behind a thick pair of glasses. She was carrying a laptop that was nearly too big for her, peppered with stickers of cartoon animals. Lena Hendoyan Fadol. A prodigy in the art of programming, both Mycroft and Gobble were bidding daily to have her join them. Is that like Minecraft? I hope not. You'll know what Gobble would be. Or at least to prevent the other company from claiming her. Me? It's a lot to think about, but I suppose... That's no good. Definitely below minimum requirements. You're an adult, so aren't you supposed to be able to parse and process at least that much information? That's why I don't like talking to smart people. Though perhaps your NLP function was unprepared for unindexed input. Interesting. During her monologue, she opened her laptop, held it in her right hand, and typed something with lightning speed and precision. She snapped it shut loudly. What? You know, such abstract query usually will return an error without an explicit declaration of the preceding conversation. But never mind. I've got a pretty good model of you, complemented with what meager data I can find in a round or two of newbies, my own foray into machine learning. And I can probably figure out what kind of narrative framework you might come up with anyway. Alright. What about you? What do you want to make? Me? Well, I'm sure I can learn a lot from doing a thorough user test on the system. Edge cases and all that. Then again, it's always prudent to start with the basics. Sometimes people forget to check the basic functionalities. Lena shook her head, as if disappointed by these imaginary hypothetical fools. In conclusion, I still need to finalize my own test plan. You don't have to treat it as a job, you know. You can have a little fun with it. At this, she had a wistful look to her. I wish I could. When you get to my level, it's just hard not to notice software is lacking UI speed or even the library they're using, even when I just want to enjoy it. That's why I can't get into video games. She seemed to have caught herself in a moment of weakness and shook it off, putting on a rather unconvincing neutral expression. If you have no further query, good evening then. It's nearly my bedtime, and I need to finish this little project first. Good thing the internet here is adequate. So, it seems like none of them are really interested in actually making a game with this software, Fantasia. They're just going in with their knowledge to see if their knowledge would work with it or break it. A little rude. Let's do the banker, because I want to say the story writer for last. I like story writers. I like reading. Aaron Montgomery. Seems like a pretty normal name. Are they a pretty normal person, though? No, they're not. They're wired on caffeine and anxious and sleep deprived. What is this theme song of yours? He's dancing to the theme song, that's what it is. Are you alright? You don't look well. The very lanky and pale man in front of me looked shell-shocked. The dark bags under his eyes added to the impression that he could fall over and faint any second. Aaron Montgomery. I didn't know much about him, but from what I gathered, he was the mind behind many economic turnabouts at companies and even nations in the last decade. No, I'm quite alright, thank you. It's just that I can't believe I get to be here in the first place, and I only want me to use my imagination? Do bankers have imaginations? Is the camera slowly panning up? It is. What is wrong with the camera? Is he staying the same? No, he's going down too. He's going down with the ship. The man shivered at the word imagination as if he had uttered a slur most vile. No. It's my mouse. Oh my god, it's my mouse. I can... Alright. Like I knew. It did look like he was going down with the ship though. That can't be right. There must be a mistake. I'm a bad cameraman in that case. What do you mean? It's just that I'm practically a nobody. I'm just a banker, if I can even call myself that. What is that supposed to mean? Sure, I got lucky once or twice, and now some people look at me like I saved their grandmother from drowning. Not that I'm ungrateful, but I just have so much yet to learn. Well, they say modesty is a virtue. There's really nothing to be modest about. It's something anyone can do. I just happen to be the one stuck doing it. And suddenly I'm here, surrounded by these amazing people. Me! My mother was right. I should have taken over the farm. You'd rather take over the farm than be a banker? Now that we're here, why not make the best of it? The best of it? The best of it? I turn in my game idea, people might just die of boredom. I'm not an artist. I only know numbers and regulations, and how to properly and efficiently file end of fiscal year audit forms. That's more than most people know what to do with it. It's going to be embarrassing for everyone involved. So you're going to bail? No, the cancellation fee is far too outrageous. I'll just stay here and wait it out. I'm not going to submit anything. What about you, sir? Thomas. Just call me Tom. And no, I don't have anything in mind just yet. It's just so much to take in, you know? I was hoping to get some ideas from talking to you and the others. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. We're trying to steal ideas. I couldn't be of any help. I won't get in your way now. I'm truly sorry. Before I could stop him, the blushing Aaron quickly went on his way. He was surprisingly agile for his wiry frame. Well, then, now that I know that I'm the one controlling the stupid camera. Renata Mazzini, the story writer. Get in frame. There we go. My, that was certainly a doozy. My poor heart. Are you Miss Mazzini, by any chance? The old woman was clad in warm, fuzzy layers of pastel-colored clothing, making her look like a walking hunting cottage. A walking hunting cottage? I bet she writes smut. Renata Mazzini, as the world's most popular children's author. Okay, well, I was way off, wasn't I? I don't think she writes smut. Her books were pivotal in building a generation that eventually ended the conflict in the Middle East that had lasted for hundreds of years. Therefore, she won a Nobel Peace Prize. Why, yes, it is very nice to meet you, Mr. Thomas Lyndon Johnson. An honor to meet you. You can call us Tom. My, you're such a handsome fellow. Are you related to Sarah Lyndon from the London Episcopal Church? No, actually. Never heard of her. She was a friend of mine, really quite a beauty in her younger days, though last I heard her legs gave in and now she has to use a wheelchair. Mind you, wheelchairs these days are practically motorcycles, if you ask me. Oh, but where were we? Ah, right, the Fantasia. Yes, what do you make of it? Oh, it's almost too much for a poor old woman like me. I'm just baffled by all these inventions. When I was young, I got to try the very first model of Visa VR, you see. So like old geezer VR. Funny thing that, very heavy by today's standards, but I was rightly awed. Yes, I was. I can still remember that game very well. It was a racing game. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything, because it was in her heyday, so... It feels so real that my head's... made my head... It felt so real that my head spin. Right, it did. It's just a weird sentence. Nowadays, even walking too fast can give me vertigo. I talked to my doctor about it, but she said it's not unusual for my age. Well, not that I walk a lot nowadays. My knees aren't what they used to be. Of course, my nephew told me to wear one of those mobility suits, but even the sight of them gives me quite a fright they do. About the Fantasia. I'm terribly sorry, my mind keeps wandering on its own these days. Yes, it's certainly a wonderful thing. Just imagine what we can do with it. I could be young again. It would be just dear to have some spring in my step. Or perhaps I can bring to life my personal favorite of my children, The Great Little Pink House. The film adaptation was just dear, but it got some details very, very wrong, poor child. I mean, most movies do. Oh my, I usually get really sentimental these days. Do excuse this old woman's tears. Let me record them. I'm gonna stop this right here and say that for the rest of the subtitle portion, the transcript, I'm going to stick to what I'm saying outside of the visual novel storyline. That way, I feel like the text for the visual novel is pretty decently big. Should be good to go. Sometimes I know visual novels have smaller text, but I'm going to just put in my own thoughts, outside thoughts of what I'm reading. Just a heads up. Alright, continue. The next couple of days were spent mostly in quiet excitement as we talked with each other, mostly about anything but our ideas, for those who have an idea at least. There was a subtle tinge of secrecy pervading that facility, visible in the genial way we passed the salt but not information in those early good nights and late good mornings. The two people I grew closest with, for the loose sense of close, were Helena, the world-famous chef, and Sean, the professional gamer, or esports athlete if he was feeling cheeky. More precisely, I sat around them as Helena commented on every food the staff cook came up with, while Sean played and replayed decades-old games. 2 dozen words or so in total were exchanged between us 3 during good hours. And many times that if Renata, the oldest of the bunch and the storybook writer, came by to chit-chat about everything there was in the world. Then went away probably to find more sets of ears to listen to her stories. Aaron and Juan got along famously. The banker and the neurosurgeon shared drinks and smokes, though Juan did most of the talking. Well, complaining, really. And Aaron meekly agreed to everything he said. And the youngest of our 7, Lena, kept to her room most of the time, coming out at weird hours of the day while muttering some indecipherable programming language that she ate. Vegetables carefully avoided. At the end of the week, we had our first trial. Somebody had finished their world. Oh. Oh, this has to be Helena, right? Helena the book writer? Story writer? Unless this isn't even the world she created. All cinemas were ushered in back to the main hall after lunch. It had been closed for the good part of the week, and now we found out why. It had been partitioned into chambers that each contained a Fantasia unit. Attached to the outside of each chamber, there was a monitor alongside what looked like a control panel. There were about a dozen asynth staff members in the main hall, one standing outside of each chamber and the rest standing around the hall. Sean looked nervous and didn't have any handheld in his hands for once. Oh! Instead opting for Rubik's Cube to fidget with. That is not a Rubik's Cube in his hand, that is a handheld console. She's actually making me want angel hair now. Some angel hair pasta sounds good. I haven't eaten my hash browns yet. She'd be disgusted at me. Sitting beside him was Helena, merely holding a sandwich and not a whole smorgasbord. Okay, Helena's the cook. My bad. Food as usual. Juan and Aaron talked in hushed whispers. Well, Juan did most of the talking and Aaron just nervously nodded along. Poor Aaron. Laying on the back wall, Lena was practically sleepwalking, softly clutching the hem of Renata's cardigan. The older woman softly patted Lena's fluffy head of hair. I was thinking Renata. Who do you want to talk to? Let's talk to the smart neurosurgeon and the twitchy banker. I walked over to Juan in Aaron's little corner. I know I'm going to do terrible at this. I've never been good at video games. It might not necessarily be a game, amigo. Might be a pleasant, simple experience, yes? And who knows, maybe the newfangled machine is just a bluff anyway. I don't know. How are we feeling today? I guess you could say, como se dice? Cautiously pessimistic. Juan had a naughty smile on his face. What is with the naughty smiles and naughty looks? That's the thing with these marketing people, you know? They overpromise, but then the product turns out to be shabby. Happens all the time, especially in the medical industry. People are always selling the latest immortality pill. Found a youth, panacea, what have you. Well, it's one of the biggest industries after all, especially with the non-agenarians and centarians nowadays. If this machine does work, I think investing in it would be the worst idea. I think. Maybe. I do own some shares in Asynth. Just a few. Hearing this, one raised his eyebrows. His smile faltered. Oh. Are you besting him, Aaron? I see. So you do believe in them, don't you, friend? But only financially. I mean, it was really impressive how he drove all the other major players into bankruptcy, just so he could snatch them up for cheap. He's a really shrewd man, so I don't think he would move forward with this project if he wasn't absolutely confident. At least that's what I think. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Somebody get this man a toilet. Maldición. For a second, Juan's face turned dark, with eyes burning with cold anger. Then the moment passed and he looked perfectly amicable as usual. I don't trust Juan. No problem, it just means we have to get it a proper test, yes? See if it's really a good idea to mess with the human mind like this, yes? It's probably not a good idea. When is it ever a good idea to mess with the human mind? You got one guy, can't stop pacing back and forth. Another guy, doing a little tap dance. Despite the pleasant enough smile donned by Juan, Aaron seemed to have noticed the momentary lapse. The accountant squeaked in an indistinct apology. The head usher called for attention. Staff had finished their final checks. The lively but nervous conversation died down. Still, I wonder whose idea this one will be. Do you have any idea? I mean, the girl was locked away in her room for a while. So maybe it's hers? No, nobody wanted to take credit for it. To be honest, I feel that it's more exciting that way. I guess we'll see soon enough. Hey, wait a second. I finished my sandwich! She fended off a nascent staff who tried to lead the gluttonous chef to her fantasia. How are you not fat? See you on the other side, people. I guess, metabolism. I went to my chamber with the staff assigned to me. She instructed me to take off my shoes and get on the Fantasia. After she made sure that my head felt comfortable, she connected the cables to parts of my head, kept in place with built-in adhesive tapes. Will these come off if I turn my head around? No need to worry, sir. The Fantasia connectors were all designed and tested to withstand even the unruliest sleeper. Why do you sound like a robot when you talk? A lot of beep beep boops. No, I need you to relax. Try to sleep if you can. Would you like me to turn the lights off? Yes, please. The staff member turned the light off from the outside. I find comfort in the darkness. Both my body and mind quickly relaxed, easing me into the shapes and colors that were turning more solid and real each second. Until I found myself standing in front of a grassy meadow, unnaturally flat and thoroughly green, reminiscent of a cheap golf course. I mean, Aaron did say he should have been worked on the farm like his mom said, so this kind of looks like farmland, right? The horizon was soft blue with white fluffy clouds hanging. I looked down and saw my feet and shoes once again, stepping firmly on the ground. I could feel the solidness of the ground, the sensation of fresh open air against my skin, the beating of my heart and even my irregular breathing due to the excitement. I took a step and it was real, just like how my muscles in my mind knew how a step should be since I was a toddler. They did it. They created reality. This has got to be going in a horribly wrong direction, considering this is part of the Haunted Ghost Festival on Steam. Can't imagine this being a cheery game in the end. I laughed. I touched the ground, feeling soft blades of grass bending against my fingers. I felt the fabric of my shirt and trousers. I put my hands in my pockets. I removed my shoes and socks to see my feet, real as normal as they can be. Hobbit feet. I ran around the endless meadow, feeling free as I had not felt in a long time, laughing merrily. Is this all it is? Just a meadow? That's a little lame. Oh, then the view began to shift again, stopping me on my tracks. It began as shapeless gray blurs that solidified into divine shapes and colors, creating a trees and a house. Okay. The person behind the simulation had to be the old woman, Renata Mazzini, as the new sight seemed to come out straight of a children's book. The trees were very straight and their branches came together neatly, with little variations between them. The house was tiny and seemingly made only with curved bricks. Okay, well if you showed me that, then I would probably figure it was her. I knocked on the door and a pink rabbit opened it. It looked absurd, wearing an apron over a dress and walking on two legs, yet I felt perfectly at ease. And then the horror came. Did she write horror children's stories? Welcome, we've been waiting for you. I mean, you could say that Little Red Riding Hood is a children's story, but it's also horrific. Especially when told by the Grimm brothers. I walked in and found myself in a mess-frilly cluttered cottage. Framed pictures, ceramic dolls, quilts, and other knickknacks filled every inch. It's poison, don't drink it. A group of woodland creatures were sitting around a round table that was filled with pastries, fruits, and cups of tea, leaving one empty cushioned chair for me. We had a most pleasant tea time. Helena must be happy to find that the cookies not only tasted real, They tasted delicious. So was the fragrant tea. The grandfather clock inside showed that 2 hours had passed when we were finished, though it felt much longer. You took 2 hours to finish your tea? After the clock rang 4 times, Miss June Bunny looked up from her knitting and spoke softly to me. Get out of my house. It's time for you to leave. Surely your friends are waiting for you. Mom, can't he stay longer? Billy? Slow your roll. Billy Bunny, who'd been drawing with me, asked. Now, Billy. Our guest is somewhere else he ought to be. Now say goodbye. Bye, mister. Promise me you'll come and visit again. Why does she look sunburned all of a sudden? I promise. Be a good boy, okay? I patted his fuzzy head once more before I opened the door and walked out. I woke up in the darkness of my chamber with only remnants of the outside light giving me enough illumination to discern the edges of the room. I mean, it was rather short, but it did give the overall feel of this, you know, being real. Which I guess was the main point of testing this software, right? The light blinked on, momentarily blinding me. A different staff member came in and began detaching the cables from my head. They peeled off without any pain. How was your experience, sir? It was... I tried to look for a word that would sufficiently express my awe and bafflement and joy and dread. It was real. I was really there. I had tea with the bunnies and Larry Bear and Mike Mole, and it was damn good tea too. Glad to hear that, sir. I made it myself. The man replied as he finished his job and helped me stand up. You can leave as soon as you're ready. I left the chamber to find out that the rest of the party had gone out before me, converging around Renata, who was clad in her usual getup of cardigans and scarves and bulks. That was so nice. I can't believe I could taste the tangy apricot jam so well. I can even still taste it. Everyone was so fluffy and warm and fluffy. Alright, you said that twice. I don't know how they could process so much data in real time, simulate each strand of hair and the physics, but it was amazing. I want to see Mr. Bear again. Lena chimed in, who was surprisingly having perked up and looked more cheerful than ever. As I made my way towards the small crowd, I noticed one walking away from them, mirroring me. That's existential dread right there. He looked very thoughtful and barely noticed me when I tapped his shoulder. Oh, it's you, compadre. Feeling alright? See, I'm fine. Just, the old bastard really made it work somehow. Was better than my expectations, yes. I need a smoke if you'll excuse me. The old bastard? I had to take a moment to think about it because I think he's talking about the person who created the machine and not the woman who made the little world, right? She's not the old bastard. I joined the group and shook Renata's hand. She was beaming, surrounded by everyone's praises and adoration. Oh my, I'm so glad that you dearies enjoyed it. I want to start simple. I'm not really familiar with the current technology, the silly old woman. Do excuse the simplistic setting. I considered making the whole green hilltop woodlands, but I thought to myself, why not start with the best little bunny house? Because I do remember it the most, being one of my earliest works. And though the illustration was quite wonderful as well, which I asked them to translate into the simulation, they did a marvelous job. It was quite surprising to see you went first. Miss Mazzini likes her surprises. Yes, I do. But I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. It was like living a childhood I never had. Renata nodded and happily continued talking until one by one everyone retired to their rooms, leaving only her and Lena, who had fallen asleep on her lap with her arms tightly wrapped around her laptop. Sneak a peek in there. After our first foray into Fantasia's reality, we grew our confidence both in Fantasia and ourselves. Everybody began to build upon their ideas, their fantasies. Their eyes were gleaming with renewed vigor. Along the way, certain things took root and became budding tradition. The way we kept our ideas secret and how everyone gathered to attend every single Fantasia experience. Even Juan, who was perpetually fretting about how Fantasia might put him and other neuroscientists out of a job, didn't miss any. One evening it came to me as I was sipping on a cup of after-meal coffee. There has to be a limit to this toy, yes? Is he gonna sabotage this thing by trying to I think he's gonna try to break it. Kind of like let's game it out. Like he does. Breaks every game he can. What do you call it? A bug, a glitch, a mishap. After all, it's still a toy. Are you not interested in testing limits of this little contraption, compadre? What do you mean? Just try to put pressure on it. Just like how a human brain can't process an overload of information. This thing's got its breaking point too. It must. I guess you could put so many things into the software to create, it could cause you to be overstimulated, right? And then you as a person would probably freak out if you were overstimulated. His eyes blinked too many times and he had a manic grin that betrayed the calm air he desperately tried to put on. Why me? But it is simple. I believe that I know. He stopped mid-sentence. It was so abrupt that I thought he had caught someone lurking behind me. When I turned around, there was nobody there. When he talked again, he sounded much calmer. You seem like the curious type, compadre. Curious and smart. Aren't we all curious and smart? Everybody in this Fantasia thing? So, what do you say? Who am I supposed to be? I don't know who I am. Cause I thought I was just like, I don't know, interviewing people. Am I gonna break it? He's counting on me. The neuroscientist is counting on me. I don't even know who I am. I guess I'll consider it. I am interested in learning more about the system. And learning about the system does include testing its limits. But I can't promise anything. I wouldn't want to get in trouble. Is it the people who's made Fantasia's job to test its limits? Or is it the people using the software? Because that's what playtesting is, right? They bring people in to test for bugs and all that stuff. So it kind of makes sense. Very well. I can't ask for much more, no? I'll do what I can. You do you. Sometimes that's all we can do. Despite Juan's resolute skepticism, each go at the Fantasia produced perfect results. The day after Renata's tea party, we were treated to a retro-style video game experience courtesy of Sean, where I stomped on walking mushrooms. Though we were not being ourselves, but rather a plump-looking Italian guy in overalls. Come on, dude! Make up your own stuff! Don't take from Mario! It was very awkward and trippy not being in my own body to the point I got myself killed a few times by stupid-looking monsters. I naturally placed spikes and pits. Did you grow a raccoon tail and found you can fly? But thankfully I only felt a sharp jolt for a second, then I was ready to slay a whole kingdom's ecosystem once more. After the game was over, we found ourselves back in the main hall. So, they couldn't actually show his world since it was basically a replica of Mario. Nice dude. You're terrible. How was it? The usually relaxed Sean looked nervous. It's pretty fun. I haven't played games in ages, so it was a nice change of pace. It made my heart race. Walking and showing me around were quite thrilling, yes. But I wish we could have made friends with the critters instead. I didn't have the heart to hurt the poor things. Yeah, that's just what the game is like. So yeah, he's nervous because he knows someone's gonna call him out. How very interesting. The characters and settings seem pretty well realized. Did you have their designs ready? Oh, he had their designs ready! No, they're actually from this old dead franchise. Way before my time? I'm talking like hundreds of years ago. They're in the public domain now. Okay, this makes sense. This has to be like years ahead of our time. with this kind of software. But I doubt this franchise will be dead. So I thought I might as well use the available assets and just focus on the gameplay, you know? Yes, that is a resource-effective approach. I tried eating the mushrooms, but they didn't taste like anything. You didn't grow? Dude, you what? The third one to give us a whirl was Helena, who took us to a beautiful seaside restaurant on the shores of Italy to sample some culinary experiments she came up with. Helena's lunch proved to us that the Fantasia had the ability to be interconnected, to play multiplayer, as Sean put it, as we could see each other during the simulation. Oh, that's interesting. These braised mussels with cacao hazelnut reduction taste weird. Your palate is just unsophisticated. My palate is so unsophisticated. Although I admit I could have used a few more minutes on the stove. This is really useful for experiments. No more food waste. I'll install one in my kitchen when I get back. This might be a good way to save on entertainment budget in the long run. The prices at those fancy restaurants are just upsetting. Ahem, so sorry for losing my temper. But see, compadre, no matter how much we wine and dine at this fine establishment, it's all no more than an illusion, yes? Our bellies might feel full right now, but they're still empty in the real world. Yeah, but if a world-famous chef could go into this thing and just start creating recipes to make the perfect one, then they'll have it. They'll have the perfect recipe. They'll know what ingredients exactly to put in. It's a shiny new toy, I give you that, but it's practically got no real application. I freaking hate one. A computer is not meant to be, like, analyzed by a neurologist. I'm sorry. Speak for yourself. I find it very useful already. There he goes. It's going down! The tense silence was thankfully broken by Renata, who had surprisingly enjoyed the dinner and complimented Helena generously. Now, nothing better than some mince to finish a meal. Here, have some. Oh right, I left them in the real world. Wait, is this the gamers? I thought we already did his. Next came Aaron's, which took the form of an obscure and progressively harder series of puzzle games based on arithmetic principles. He apologized profusely. Aaron. Oh, this is the banker. This doesn't look like a banker's universe, if you ask me. He apologized profusely to everyone after we finished with his brain-melting puzzles. We're not only finished the tutorial question before getting tired. Helena and Juan did about 5 each. Aaron correctly answered 30 more, and Lena solved nearly 50. Good for her. When she exited her Fantasia unit, only Aaron and I were left in the hall. 48, that's amazing. Welcome back. Oh, you're still here? Of course, I wouldn't dare leave before my work is done. I was just finished myself. I wanted to see how much longer you could go on. That means you must have finished a decent number of them yourself. Not bad. Are you good with numbers? I shrugged. Numbers are fine, but I find dealing with people much more interesting. Who am I? Well, it makes one of us. And Mr. Montgomery, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. Of course. So sorry if it was too obtuse, or too easy. I mean, thanks for trying. Gladly. It gave me some ideas I'd like to try for my project. Is she gonna go last? Just take everyone's ideas. Into perspective, I guess. Suddenly Juan entered the room, accompanied by a staff member. Oh, you're done? Muy buen. I see that Aaron here didn't dare try the limits of this toy, no. Just some math puzzles, yes. Oh really? Sorry. I didn't mean to, but I wanted to, I got an idea and... Even though you kept agreeing to my plan, no? What's with the change of heart? Did something happen? Or someone? Warren looked at Lena with suspicion. You just love this kind of technology, don't you, Chica? You don't want anyone messing with it before you get your turn? Is that it? Lena was unflinching, still rhythmically tapping on her laptop's keyboard, eyes peering from behind the monitor. I did not influence Mr. Montgomery, if that's what you're insinuating. I think he did a great job with his math puzzles. I don't think you have the right to say anything, considering you quit the program so early. Ooh. Plus, I work with some of the best QA engineers in the world. I'm sure whatever test you're devising will be far from adequate. Now, if you'll excuse me. Damn, get burned, bro. She walked out of the room, leaving the speechless one behind. She thinks she's very clever. Whatever. I'm almost done with my program. She'll see if it's far from adequate. A few days after, we were once again summoned to the main hall. As we arrived, I immediately looked at Juan, trying to gauge if he was planning to do anything. But he looked calm and collected as usual, an easy smile on his face. He winked at me playfully as he caught my gaze. Please go in, sir. The staff member hooked me up to the Fantasia unit. As we had more of these sessions, their movements became more trained as well. As a familiar feeling of sleepiness overtook me, I couldn't help but feel apprehensive about what was about to come. And what greeted me was something stupidly ridiculous. A loud blurring noise. Stupidly ridiculous. Blinding lights that blinked and changed colors in dizzying speed. Ocean floors. Outer space. Near-like catastrophic car crashes. Extreme heat. Extreme cold. So he's basically trying to kill us. One second I felt a desperate hunger, like I'd been starving for years. Next thing I felt so full I wanted to throw up. I was all alone. Then I could see a figure appearing before me. Dude, not cool. He disappeared. I won out. She disappeared. I felt a second pass by, then what felt like a year. The doctor made good of his promise to test the limits of Fantasia, also that of the human experience. I shook up violently on my slate and launched myself awake, drenched in sweat. That bastard. The staff member assigned to me apologized profusely and gave me an injection that quickly brought my heart rate down to near normal. It's weird that they allowed this, because aren't there people on the side putting this into Fantasia? Still shaken, I wanted to put a bullet between Juan's eyes for what he had put me through. When I was cleared to go, he had already been detained. Apparently, he had meddled with the planned program at the last second, going behind the staff responsible for security measures. Okay, that makes more sense. Thankfully, I opted to reuse Renata's woodland tale for Elena and Renata herself, sparing them from the horrors. Still, the rest of us cursed his name for that, and Aaron swore to help us sue Juan and Ascent if he wanted to. I'll definitely sue Juan for this. It took more than a week for us to fully recuperate. We had therapy sessions every day. It didn't help much. He didn't break the program, he just kind of broke our brains. Then it was down to me and Lena. I hope he was fired from his practice. And all his money is gone. Get bankrupt, bitch. Little girl had become a lot more open to pleasantries by then, still talking in that perpetually annoying way filled with technical terms, but at least she was talking. She seemed to be particularly fond of Renata, who returned the affection 20 times over. It was a common sight to see them lounging in many of the facility's comfy rooms, Renata working on new stories in paper and pencil while Lena typed furiously opposite her. Or when the moon had perched itself in the night sky and Lena would rest on Renata's lap. I didn't tell it to anyone, but there was something about her that made me uneasy. She seemed to always be watching me when I wasn't looking at her. Once or twice I caught her eyes before she quickly closed them or looked somewhere else. Perhaps it was an unspoken sense of rivalry for being the final two people to turn in their ideas. The other 5 had subtly or directly shared with us their anticipation. Then the day came. I was in the billiard room with Sean and Aaron when the speaker blared on. The next Fantasia trial session will commence in 15 minutes. All guests, please proceed to the main hall. I can't wait to see what you cooked up, man. Sean put down the cue. His gaming skills apparently manifest in more traditional venues as well. I raised an eyebrow. Well, perhaps it's her. I never said it was me. I think it's Lena. She was up early today. She had this mischievous look on her face. At least I thought so. Huh. We'll see soon anyway. If anything, it couldn't be worse than what Juan did. We arrived. You know what? With what Juan did, I would never go to his practice. Ain't no neurologist like that gonna be looking at me, trying to figure out my brain. We arrived at the room to see that 2 chambers were already filled in. 3 of us parted ways to our own units, sharing eager smiles. The helper set up the connecting cables, and in a minute I dozed off into the engulfing darkness. I'd kind of be afraid to go back into it after that. And I woke right back up in my chamber. I wonder what had happened. Did something go wrong? I waited for what felt like 30 seconds, then 1 minute. The light didn't switch back on, nor did the helper come in. Hello? Anyone there? I spoke to the monitoring camera in the corner of the room, but nobody came. I removed the cables by myself. Is this where horror takes place? My heart began pounding with unnerving cacophony. I opened the door. There was nobody, not even any of the white uniformed staff member. I peeked in the other chambers and found only unattended Fantasia units. The nauseating feeling inside my chest grew larger. I opened the door to the hallway frantically, a manic fervor presiding over me. The empty hallway greeted me with deafening silence. Even the air felt wrong. It felt heavy, suffocating. Hello? Brian? Helena? Sean? Lena? Juan? I cried out to the empty hallway, the vast emptiness carrying my lonesome voice until it died as a whisper. Could this be a prank? A sort of test? Or had a terrible catastrophe happened and everyone had to evacuate, somehow leaving me behind? Or could it be... No. My rational side hastily tried to reason with my emotions. Baseless speculations would not help my situation. It was fine. Even if I were somehow trapped here, I could probably come up with a plan to escape this damned island. I've survived worse before. And then a few deep breaths and I could feel my heartbeat calming down to a more manageable level. Running around the mansion would just sap the strength out of me. I should try and go about it methodically. Perhaps I had missed something, or someone in my panic. I was not in immediate danger. I should see if I could find someone, or, failing that, a way to get off the island. Look in the bedrooms. I knocked the doors of everyone's bedrooms. Nobody answered. I tried to open the doors, but they wouldn't budge. That was not unexpected. Each of our rooms was fitted with the latest technology and security. But Renata liked to keep her door open, as she was always ready to play host. She seemed to always have a pot of steaming tea and a small plate of cookies ready for visitors. Do come in. I was just rereading one of my children. Even the spare rooms were locked, and, to my dismay, even my room was not spared. Defeated, I looked out the window. The verdant trees and blue sky were as picturesque as usual. It was hard to gauge the exact time based on the light of day, but it was still bright outside. I blinked. There was something off about the view, but what was it? It was like that game, Don't Look Outside. Or Look Outside. Isn't it called Look Outside? But you're not supposed to look outside? The wind. Right. Being situated on an island, the sea breeze would always disturb the greeneries. Sometimes softly, sometimes harshly, as if they were about to be uprooted. But today must be an unusually calm day. The leaves and branches were static. Left with no choice, I moved on to other parts of the building. I shoved doors open to find the other rooms and halls completely vacant. It was as if nobody ever lived here. Some parts were more frustrating as I would be met with locked doors. For good measure, I tried the windows and they were similarly locked shut. Even with my forced composure, the sprawling size of the building made my fruitless search exhausting, both physically and mentally. The vast, well-lit architecture only made my solitude more pronounced. That was, until I finally opened the grand front doors and stepped out to the courtyard. I saved it for last, so I knew going outside would only make me feel more vulnerable. There I found her, Lena, sitting cross-legged facing the front door. She had been looking downwards, long hair revealing her face. She slowly raised her head, clearly calculated to add a dramatic flair. Her olive eyes caught mine, her mouth parted into a wide, naughty grin. You, what are you playing at? I spat out the words. Well, I calculate that this throw will return the optimal outcome. It might not be too pleasant for you, but I hope you'll understand. Her fingers danced swiftly on her laptop's keyboard, ending in a loud tap on what I assumed was the enter button. Sight of the courtyard melted before my eyes as another place, and the reality poured in to fill the void. So she's messing with us? As she is inside the simulator? A luxurious mansion by the seaside formed around the two of us. The sky painted red by the breathtaking sunset. The cool breeze brought with it the distant cries of seagulls. It's not so bad, really. Newbies told me you were predisposed to a comfortable life. I modeled this from several samples of European vacation villas and celebrity mansions. There's a really nice infinity pool on the other side, too. What are you talking about? She stood up and leaned over the marble railing that bordered the cliff, hundreds of feet above the sea. Her black hair swayed gently from the wind. If you find it too lonely, I can give you access to some basic functions. Generate a companion or two. Eternity might be unbearable by yourself. Oh, come on! I don't want that as a companion! When she finished her sentence, a pink rabbit appeared next to me. Miss June Bunny held my hand in her soft paws. I swallowed them away and she dissolved into pink pixels that blended into the background. Pink pixels is glitching. Or maybe you prefer the friends you made here. Next, Sean and Helena appeared out of thin air. Let's just chill out, dude. Eternity ain't so bad. There's still more recipes I'd like to try. Come on, there's no time to waste. Got it. Eternity playing video games or eternity eating food? Video games. I definitely go with video games. Technically speaking, we do have all the time to waste, dude. Just stop it. They too disappeared. I see. This is a simulation. Very clever. How'd you do it? Security exploits, duh. As long as you have access to the system, it's just basic procedure to find holes in the access to the system. It's glitching. The more access you give to the user, the more vulnerable you make yourself to be. I don't think you're supposed to be doing this. And with limitless authority and immersion like this. She grew brilliant white wings and soared a mere few feet, just enough to look down on me. If those wings disappear and you fall off a cliff and die, we're gonna be traumatized. Worse than with wands. It's only a matter of time until a sufficiently sophisticated user hacks their way in. Very well, I should have known that for you this is probably just like a game, appropriately enough to you. But why? Why me? What's everyone else going through? The split second of hesitation that cropped up in her wasn't lost on me. It's because you're dangerous, she said in a small voice. Newbies had to work for hundreds of cycles. You sure know how to protect your private information online, but the result was conclusive. You're not a chef, a writer, a programmer, a doctor, a banker, or a gamer. You're a criminal mastermind, a psychopath. They got me. They got me, guys. Damn! They got me! List of your crimes would need a whole data center to store in. I'm more used to back-end rules, but I know what you could do if nobody stopped you from misusing Fantasia. Why do you think I want to, like, live somewhere alone? Away from people? It's probably a good thing! I laughed. She flinched. She'd even flown backwards and conjured a circular shield in front of her. The fear in her eyes was bliss for me. Clever little girl. So your plan is to trap me inside this silly toy. But suppose that Sting and his people knows that I have been asleep for too long. Surely they'd turn it off. I can't wait to play with you in the real world. Kids are nicer when they're quiet. Without a warning, black heavy chains busted up from the ground, constrained my hands and legs. I dropped to the ground with noisy clinks. It's too late for that. They already know who you are. I notified them. Shouldn't they have known? I guess I might have lied, but I don't know. Change company wiped my toothy smile. This little girl evoked emotions I had long forgotten. Well then she's stupid. Using the Fantasia. True, for the rest of them I displayed the explanation of the situation except them to wake up after 60,000 milliseconds. 1 minute. Just say 1 minute! But how can you be so sure? Are you aware of the moral implications of using a homegrown, untested software to play judge, jury, and executioner? Your whole reasoning might be based on a mistake. I'm just an honest man. Please let me go and I won't make a big deal of this whole embarrassment. Everyone makes mistakes. Her wings shriveled and disappeared, dropping to the ground on 2 skinny legs. Do you think I don't think about that? She was shaking, her eyes clouded with unshed tears. That's why I waited for so long. I went with the trouble of modeling and simulating everyone, and I had to do it with my laptop. I had to overclock it to the point of overheating. What are you talking about? I asked, knowing full well what she meant. This is not the first layer. No, the first one, that was me. The seaside villa dissolved into a childish imitation of a forest. A pink house stood out among the trees. I think this is gonna mess up on her, cause it's glitching. I had to work even in-game, making sure that the building is a perfect duplicate and everyone acted consistently, coming up with 5 scenarios, keeping states in between simulations, optimizing so much data and functions, and having to account for the variables, all while I had to keep my user access from getting cut off. And I had to make sure everyone behaved as expected, even if they might make you suspect things. So, everything was a lie. You've really outdone yourself. Why? How are you so calm? I'm a psychopath. Her bafflement made me sneer again. Oh, should I panic? Oh no, you bested me. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kid. And your stupid laptop too. I used my best whiny voice, savoring each syllable. I like my character. Don't mock me. Okay, fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Dropping the swords of revealing light. 6 intricate ornamental golden spears materialized in the air around Lena and shot towards me. They all struck the ground beside me, forming a cage. I wanted to be nice, but if you want it that way, fine. The villains shattered into pieces, revealing a grey void. This is a fitting grave for someone as despicable as you. Lena regrew wings on her back and took flight. There was no land, no sky, only a monochromatic blankness. I think Expedition 33 might be proud of this. Despite that, the chains and cage retained their uneven bondage. Goodbye. Lena flew away, her white wings a blemish on the greenness. Her figure shrunk until she disappeared in the horizon. I was left alone. Silence. I could hear my own heart beating softly inside my chest. Virtual heart instead of virtual body, and it all feels so real. Alas, my long life of trick and crimes had ended, in the hands of a child nonetheless. There was nothing to it. I always knew it had to end someday. I laughed, bellowed from the very core of my being. A terrible laugh that died away without reaching anyone else. I embraced the gray and it welcomed me. Epilogue. Really? Lena Hendoyan Fadol woke up from a long dream. Next to her, an old man was waiting, accompanied by 2 ASIN staff members, each carrying a clipboard. Brian Singh looked at her with obvious interest. Are you alright? Her throat was dry, her eyes were heavy, and her body was sluggish. Yet she answered in the affirmative. A glass of water was brought to her and she gulped it down greedily. Please leave us alone. The command resulted in the old man and the little girl alone in the white room. He was perched on a foldable chair while she sat propped up by a stack of pillows. A hint of solemnity pervaded the chamber, nearly tangible. First thing first, I don't appreciate you taking the responsibility into your own hands. It made you a vigilante. I know perfectly well how intelligent you are, but in some matters you should consult an adult. No, make it that you should consult anyone. Lena nodded, but the way she avoided Brian's eyes told him that the girl was not the least bit regretful of her actions. He, in turn, was torn between a sigh and a chuckle. The follies of youth were not a foe unbeknownst to him. It was, in hindsight, what brought him his foolhardiness and knack for innovation. And Nevertheless, I'm still in awe by how you so effortlessly tricked him. You kept him from noticing that his world was a fabrication the whole time. You made a fool of someone so cunning. Bravo, young lady. The praise got a smile out of her. She was not a believer in false modesty, after all. Thank you. Just then, a question popped up in her mind, and who was she to waste a good question? What's your plan for Fantasia, then? I believed, and I still do, that Fantasia holds endless possibilities. It can bring joy, knowledge, fulfillment. Perhaps, if you excuse me for saying it myself, even the next step of human evolution. Lena looked at him. Even though reading human behavior is not a gift she possessed, she could see the carefully reined insanity behind the man's eyes, swirling quietly like quicksand. Yet it did not frighten her, for she was much too familiar with that look, one she saw every time she looked into a mirror. But now that you've demonstrated just how a crafty user might misappropriate Fantasia, I'm thinking the world is not quite ready for it. Fantasia should remain just that, a fantasy. She looked down, her fingers fidgeting with themselves in the empty air. How she missed her laptop already. When she was with her laptop, she could easily escape awkward conversations. Sometimes it's really confusing because the characters, like, keep their models. So she's holding a laptop, but she doesn't have one. But she does have one. I guess so she doesn't. Nothing was as awkward as stopping an old man's years of research and billions in funding it must have cost him. It's alright, really. It is. It was a nice long dream. Sometimes the journey is better than the destination. Discovering something new or having an unexpected breakthrough has pushed me through these late years of my life. Is this still a simulation? I still feel like I'm dreaming, but now it's time to wake up and look for the next adventure. His eyes gleamed. Lena thought she could see the feral boy inside the old man, grinning at her. Is he us? He's not us, right? Good luck, Mr. Singh. Please call me Brian. I hope you'll grant me the pleasure of joining me again soon once I figure my next enterprise. Whatever form it might take. He seems a little unstable. I promise, Mr. Brian. Miss Fadul, we're here to inquire about the man you neutralized. It's both for internal documentation and a police report. Maybe this is her whole entire simulation here. Like, none of it's been real. From the beginning up until now. Well, maybe the records were real. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. First, you said you found evidence that he was a criminal. What were his crimes? Well, his crimes were... Lena stopped mid-sentence, nearly choking on her tongue. What were his... crimes? She remembered well how revolting it was to learn about his crimes from a search in the deep web. But what were they exactly? Yes? Lena searched inside her brain to find it uncharacteristically blank. No keyword, no thread. I'm sorry. It seems that I've forgotten. Very well, we'll look into them. Can you tell us his name? Yes, his name was... Once again, her internal query produced nothing. Dread took over her. She could recall all the times she interacted with him, within every layer. Are we taking control of this? Are we deleting? Oh, I bet we're deleting her memory. He didn't ever give his name. That's why I wondered who we were. Did he ever give his name? No? Then could you at least tell us what he looked like? Lena didn't bother to open her mouth before trying to come up with the image of the man. Was he tall or was he short? Was he fair-skinned or dark? What was his hair color? Eye color? It was nowhere to be found. She could only describe him as a man. A blank face, floating inside her memories. Ah, and we thought you were such a clever little girl. The staff members laughed, mocking her. Lena watches their facial features sunk into their faces, leaving emptiness behind, heads shaking with laughter. Final question. How long have you been dreaming? Lena screamed inside the 100th layer of simulation. 100th layer. The butterfly screams. I dreamt I was a butterfly. That was pretty good. I assume that there's multiple endings, considering there's choices that you can make. Interesting, interesting. I liked it. I knew there had to be some kind of twist.